You're welcome to Face on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president of the land, has started forming his government. Indeed, he has sent the first batch of ministerial nominees to the House of Parliament to be vetted, which means some people are in his government. Today on Face to Face, I'm speaking to someone who is not in his government or who is no more in his government. Stay with us. My guest is a lawyer, and he's also a member of Parliament for Abuakwa South. He came to the House in 2009. He was, until 6 January 2021, the Minister for Works and Housing. Samuel Atta Akyea is my guest. You're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm strong today.
Anytime I see you, I remember when you went to the, because we are talking election petitions happening now, I remember when you appeared for, was it Ken Crunchy? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, and I remember how you were saying "my lord" instead of "my lord."
Yeah.
Is that something they teach you differently? Is it where you're taught that you say "my lord" instead of "my lord"? I always get confused.
Well, it's like the lawyer's own way of saying it, but properly speaking, it's "my lord."
Okay.
But then the lawyers who want to sort of romance it a bit by saying "my lord."
My lord. Does that make your judge extra maybe kind or something?
Well, people are attention freaks and they love to be respected. So it adds to that you're showing him deference. And that is what we normally do to judges.
I have said that you are a lawyer. I've also said you are a politician. What else is attached that the common man doesn't know? How was your upbringing like?
Well, I was brought up in a palace.
Okay.
You know, if you care to know, I come from the Ochenhe's palace. Ochenhe's jurisdiction is 5/8 of the eastern region of Ghana.
5/8?
Yes.
So that's Achim land.
Achim land. And we call it Oforipenin Fie. So I have, if you care to know, cultural and palace upbringing, very strong cultural and palace upbringing. I also had a grandma who was strong Christian. So she really loaded me with Christian virtues. So I have strong Christian upbringing as well. And what else can I say? You cannot say you come from a palace. They call you Odishia, meaning a royal, but you don't have a sense of service. So I have a strong sense of serving people, and that is why I even veered into the larger space called politics.
Odishia there means there's plenty of money at home too. So you grew up with a silver spoon or a golden spoon in your mouth?
We didn't have that kind of largesse. We didn't have the Ofrata the first kind of financial power. In which Ofrata the first was so resourceful that J.B. Dankwa could go and study law in the UK at the expense of the palace. And several of them were educated abroad. Ofrata the first was powerfully resourceful. In fact, our fortunes really dwindled. I mean, and then when we came of age, we didn't have that kind of help. But by the grace of God and because of what has been incensed into our parents, that you cannot, fall below the Ofrata the first standard, which is education. Ofrata education was essentially an education man, a man whose orientation was education. So everybody who comes from that house is education focused. So I'm not even surprised that a grandson of the stew, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said, people who are otherwise intelligent
must get free education.
Well, that's free education. That's how I say it.
So it is a lineage.
It is a lineage.
But you suffered as a child going to school. Have you ever been sacked for school fees?
I was never sacked for school fees.
Okay.
Yes, I met parents who were very resourceful. My mom was a very strong woman. Okay. If you care to know, my mom is called Abena Jankroma, but the middle name is Obo.
Okay. Oh, hard.
Yes. Stone.
Hard stone.
So I had a very strong mother.
Okay.
Very education conscious. My father was an elitist kind of person with also educational background. So they pushed us to do the education, and they saved the minimum, bill for purposes of we going to having education. So with a greater respect, I didn't have challenges with education, but I would say that we didn't have what was superfluous.
Which secondary school did you go to?
I went first to Atta College.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I continued with the sixth form there.
Okay.
So I did 7 years in Atta College, Cape Coast.
You have a grandmother who is Christian, or very Christian, you said.
Yes.
And then you're also from a royal home. Royal homes are tradition. traditional beliefs. How did you maneuver your way between these two?
Very, very difficult. If you pay regard to the Christian principles, there is no invocation of the dead. You see, we do not pray that Abraham should rise and come to our aid. But in the traditional setting, we invoke the ancestors. So there's an ancestral worship, which is a centrality of
the traditional worship.
The traditional worship. And also the stools. If you care to know, the stools have the belief that a man dies and that's not the end. So Nosajifo for Atta the first is symbolized in the black stool. And it's difficult to really marry the two. And this is where our difficulty is. It's not easy at all.
How did you survive it? Which one did you choose?
Eventually, I believe the God of the Bible, which will mean that I will not participate in the issues of tradition to the point of invoking the river god, the Brim River, in the point of saying that today we're going to the stool room, we're going to go to the Royal Mausoleum, we should not wear sandals.
You didn't subscribe to that?
I didn't subscribe to that.
Is that why you never became the Ochihini?
I think that is reasonably so, that I believe that the Ochihini's office is a serious office in terms of the traditional commitments. I didn't see myself meeting to that level. And,
what is the story? Were you offered and you rejected? Were you asked to do and you said you wouldn't do? Or were you bypassed? What happened?
It was fait accompli. They believed that one of Oforiatta should sit on the stool. If you talk about Oforiatta the first, Oforiatta the second, since that time we didn't have any Oforiatta in terms of the matrilineal Oforiatta ascending the stool. So they believe strongly that Oforiattas are very strong people. They are able to change the system and advance the cause of Abuakwa. So one of their kind. And what has happened? I've trained under President Akufo-Addo as a lawyer. I'm known. And they believe that I'm a fairly young man that could sit on that great stool of my great ancestor, Nana Oforiatta. And if you care to know, the Oforiattas are just not the matrilineal Oforiattas, those who can send us to, but the many sons, and then daughters, and then grandchildren. They are so influential. They are so many in number that they believe strongly that it was opportune that I ascended the stool.
And what happened that you never ascended it?
Just because of what I've told you, that I was of the view that marrying the two will be difficult. You're strong.
But do you have a choice? If you are next in line and you are supposed to be the Ochihini, can you really say no and walk freely with your head on your shoulders without it being cut?
I escaped the situation.
I want to know how you did that.
Yes, I even without telling President Akufo-Addo, I went to the United Kingdom.
So you fled?
I fled.
Literally, that's what you did?
That's what I did.
And
I did that without the permission of even my mother. I did it with my wife.
So you saw it coming?
Oh, it was coming.
And you escaped?
It was so clear. I have a very good grandson. It's called Freddie Ayim Oforiatta. And Freddie Ayim was the one who was so strong with me, and even the cloth I should wear after the passing.
He was already preparing.
I was being prepared for that. Going to a Siakwa for funerals, I have pictures on that.
Wow.
Serious presentation that this is a potential king of the Abuakwa people. But if you don't have it in your heart to do so,
you won't do it.
You won't do it.
So you didn't want to waste the time of the kingdom. You decided, let me just give them
I believe so. And also, I didn't want, excuse me to say, unnecessary competition. When the present and the current Ochihini, from my perspective, was fit to step into the shoes of his brother.
But he was not directly in line. You were next in line.
I was next in line from the Oforiatta matrilineal bloodline.
Okay.
And bear in mind that we are matrilineal in terms of succession.
Okay. When you went to the UK, did any emissary come to look for you? Did they attempt to smuggle you back to Ghana to forcefully install you?
I want to tell you that they thought I was getting mad.
Wow.
They believe that is the highest office that every serious royal would like to covet. So I had people coming to me. Some of the daughters of the stool, Oforiatta stool, were there. A lot of people coming to me that I shouldn't take such a decision.
You still said no?
I still said no.
Do you regret?
I do not, because at the end of the day, we've gotten a befitting, very, good Ochehene as a replacement.
But he's educated too. He's doing his normal formal activity alongside the traditional role. Are you saying you couldn't have also taken up that position and still be a lawyer?
I've not monitored what he does in terms of what I believe are serious traditional rights and the rest of them. Since he came, he will confess to you that, I've never followed him to the storeroom. But I am of the view, humbly, I don't have to divulge everything, that are you able to venerate the ancestors and give the due worship and still hold your Bible? That dilemma, a lot of people will have to answer. But I felt that it is too tall in order to follow.
So you are a church elder or a pastor? What are you? Now that you have rejected the other one.
I'm a member of the International Central Gospel Church.
ICGC.
I've been there for a very long time. Reverend Otabo is our head pastor. And I think I've enjoyed my Christian life. I do not despise where I'm coming from. I'm condemned royal of the Philippine Institute, but it's all a matter of your faith and belief systems.
You haven't been made an outcast as a result of your decision?
No, I was never made an outcast.
You're still made accommodated. That's why you're different.
I've been accommodated and I've served them.
I see.
And even the capacity as a member of Parliament, I've served my house faithfully to the best of my ability.
This is Face to Face on Citi TV. My guest is Samuel Atta Akyea. It's good you've introduced MP there. That's what I'm going to talk about. Did you plan to be an MP though? Because after the traditional thing, it was there for you. But MP, did you ever want to be an MP?
I did.
Okay.
If you care to know, I saw a very serious man, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, as a lawyer. And trust me, if you really, really came to close quarters in relation to the practice of Nana Akufo-Addo, oh, no. I've never met a lawyer who is so powerful like Mr. Akufo-Addo. Strong, lawyer.
Advocacy.
Oh, world-class advocate. Razor sharp. Neatly dressed. Charisma. Bravado. It's an admixture of all the good things we want to see with a lawyer. So that's when I started my understanding of, law, and I served under him. Mm-hmm. And then guess what? I saw that he was serving a crowd. That is politics. And his large heart to minister to several people from his pocket. I saw it.
So you followed him there?
So when he left the seat, I said, why not follow this man? So quickly, I also, went into the race and competed to become the MP for the primaries.
So you went for the parliamentary contest, internal parliamentary contest.
That is so.
You never held an executive position in the constituency?
I never held any executive position in the constituency. I never dealt with the party properly, so-called.
You were just doing law?
I was just doing law. And also giving some comfort to MPP people as well.
Okay, so representing them in court.
It was not upfront.
I see. So when he was going to run for president or the presidential candidate of the MPP in 2008, that was when you saw an opening?
That's saw an opening. That if such a big individual with such, if you like, national appeal is leaving the constituency, why don't I go and serve that constituency? So he didn't tell me to do that. But by the power of his example, I decided to go there.
Were you challenged in that contest?
I was challenged in the contest. There were about 4 people who wanted to, become the candidate. And I succeeded in becoming the first.
And you have won, and you've been winning since then. It's been comfortable for you.
It's not been too comfortable. That if you care to know, even the 2015, there was a huge contest. And I won again, always with a landslide. Always with a landslide.
But 2020, you went free.
2020, they realized that the laborer is worthy of his hire, and I've suffered a lot.
I see.
And they realized that I was with the president as well, so they should leave me alone. I think they left me alone.
Let's talk about your work in Parliament. Appointments Committee. I remember you vividly. I remember when Martin Amidu said he didn't have children, he had adults. You said that would destabilize our inheritance or law of inheritance. I remember how strongly you advocated, but of course, Amidu had his way by sort of arguing using other terms. Why are you not on the new appointments committee? We've seen the list. Your name is not there. You've pretty much been on the appointment committee since you came to Parliament, haven't you?
Yes, that is true. I've been very strong on the appointment committee. It's not only Amidu that I've really dealt with, trying to challenge the kind of thinking he had at the time. I've dealt with Fifi Kote.
During 2009, when he was going for deputy finance.
Yes, I dealt with Betty Mo Drusu and the rest of them. As I sit here now, probably the permutation was going to be that, maybe let's take the ministers off the appointment, let's take them off the committees and give space to the newcomers so that they have a sense of belonging and significance. Apart from that, I'm very competent to be there, and I wouldn't want to pry into all
But there are other ministers there?
Yes, they have the nominee for energy, Matipoku Prompe.
It's on the panel.
It's on the panel.
So it can't be the reason?
Well, I wouldn't want to conjecture.
Have you been told by leadership why your name was not put in the hat?
No. I didn't even bother to find out why they are saying that my name should not be there. But I'm comfortable to serve anywhere they place me. You see, let me also...
Previously, what was the appointment procedure like? Did you have to lobby to be on the appointment committee, or was it automatic?
No, it's like they look at your pedigree, where you're coming from. A lawyer of considerable standing. They knew that as a fact. You know, where am I coming from? One of the most revered...
Chambers.
One of the most respected constituencies. Dr. Tankwa is coming from where I am now the MP.
A pillar of the NPP.
In fact, a powerful ancestor, not a pillar.
But, so what's your suspicion? Why have you been removed?
Well, I can't be too sure.
Could it be that your pedigree has been lowered? Because you've said that you are a man of high pedigree. That's why you've been called. Now you have been uncalled. Is it that Atta Akyea's pedigree above from Kakra?
I wonder if anybody can do that successfully. You see, because as to what you have, my brother, it's inherent. It's in you. You can be rubbish today, but they will never take it from you that, you are a very intelligent journalist, and you will have certain powers, God-given, that are driving you. So I wouldn't want to say that human beings are strong enough to take from you what you have by reason of your scholarship, training, experience, and most of the time your prayers. So I wouldn't want to go into who has an agenda to lower my esteem. I wouldn't want to go there.
Have you confronted leadership on this?
I have not.
Will you?
I don't intend to, for the simple reason that there must be a good reason in their own calculation and permutation why I shouldn't be there. But I could be somewhere else too.
Is someone afraid that you'll grill their nominee? Someone who didn't give you a job, who is afraid that Atta Akyea, if he's there, he'll trouble my nominees because he's not been given a job?
I found that thinking, if that's the thinking, very preposterous. Why would I disturb any nominee of President Akufo-Addo? My brother, now that the cameras are on us, even as we are talking, and even if I want to go to the loo, I'll have challenges. Is that not so?
Yes.
So anytime that the cameras on you, you put up your best behavior. So why would I disturb President Akufo-Addo's nominee? I can't.
To pay him back in his own coins.
Well, I don't have those vindictive instincts. Even if somebody didn't want to help me in any form or kind, I leave it to the president. The president is the one who is in charge of the whole government system. You've
celebrated the Ofori-Atta family so much. What's your relationship with the one in government who is in charge of our coffers, national coffers?
He's my grandson, by tradition.
Do you have a good relationship, a working relationship?
I have a good working relationship with him. Every issue I had with him, I was upfront and we dealt with it.
You didn't, so you had issues with Ken Ofori-Atta?
Oh, certainly I had issues with him.
Were they personal or administrative? What kind
Governmental
of
issues. I used to question him about the fact that if you give me more money.
Oh, for your ministry?
For my ministry.
So it wasn't a personal thing?
It wasn't a personal thing at all.
So he was undercutting you?
Well, he tells me that the kind of undertakings I have, for example, housing, is very capital intensive and it will really not be debt sustainable. So we should give ourselves sound space. Housing will be at the front burner. And that's what we are about to see now. And so it's part of it.
Were you shortchanged at the ministry in terms of funds? Were you starved of funds as minister?
It's obvious that if you looked at the kinds of loans that some of the ministries had, measured against what I should use for housing, to a very reasonable degree, I didn't have any money for housing. That's a fact.
Was that deliberate?
Well, it was priority from the perspective of the finance minister that this is not our priority now. We're dealing seriously with planning for food and jobs. We're dealing seriously with the
free SHS,
free senior high school. Very, very, very. Money sucking.
Did you buy in that argument, considering that the housing deficit is over 2 million? Surely that should be a big headache for everybody living in this country and managing the state of our affairs. Did you agree with that thinking, that let's prioritize agric and SHS over housing?
I didn't agree.
And works, critical aspect of our development.
I didn't agree, but I didn't have a choice. You see, because of the hard fact that there's a president who is determining what is a priority to him. You understand? And if you pay regard to the Constitution, you are part of the government to help in policy. So if you should proffer a view which does not find favor with the president and the finance minister, that's the end of the matter.
Did you push this strongly as to the level of the president and say, Mr. President, you have handcuffed me? Have you said that to the president?
I did.
What was his response?
And he was also of the view that a time is going to come because of what I keep telling him, and he agreed with me 100%, that his legacy years are coming. This is what we are about to see. And I trust that it's going to be very, very good. His legacy years, he will give housing a priority. And that's what toned down my temperature. Because if I didn't see it from his perspective, I would have felt shortchanged. But insofar as he said, do not be worried about it. Just trust me that I'm about to be launched into my legacy years. By the grace of God is one, it's in his legacy years, and I'm tempted to come to some conclusion. The housing will be a priority. He's going to do housing that will immortalize his name. Like you have Kutua Champon associated with Dansuman. I can see Akufo-Addo flats going to happen in this country.
Cynics would say it means your ministry was useless in the first 4 years.
It was not totally useless. You see, it was sort of minimized in focus and impact in the area of housing. When you take the area of housing, the other departments of the ministry, President Akufo-Addo gave a very strong financial boost. And if you want me to refer to the numbers,
I'll be glad.
Okay, let me refer to the numbers for you to see. For the first time, if you care to know, we secured 200 million United States dollars for purposes of dealing with the Odo Circle debacle.
The Odo drain?
Yeah, Odo drain. That was a very ancient trouble that we were going through every year. We were sitting on tentacles, afraid.
It's still there. I don't see fishes swimming when I use
that. No, they are working on it seriously.
It's still smelly and stinky.
They are working on it seriously.
And stagnant.
When you have any contract, which is World Bank, funded or induced, you go through what I call a very tortoise pace in terms of competencies, evaluations, and the rest of it. So we are persuaded that it will take off. But let me give you some of the things which will show that my ministry was not totally neglected.
Okay.
Let's talk about the area of drainage. It is obvious that 2012, the entire amount sank into drainage and also other drainage projects was 17.6 odd million Ghana cedis.
17 million?
Yes.
Only 17 million?
Yes, 2012.
For drainage?
For drainage.
2012. No, I'm interested in your government.
No, but you won't have a sense of mine unless you compare.
Okay, so give me.
You see, 2013, it's 32.3 odd million.
So that's double.
It was. Then when you come to 2014, it dipped. 24,816,00.6. 2015, it came to 22,236,342. 2016, it was embarrassing. 12,271,558,00. 2017, our time, when we assumed the reins of government, it came to 8 million.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, it came to 8,136,016.41.
That's what you were given to use for fixing our drains.
For the National Flood Control Program and also other drainage, works. Now come to
from 32 million.
Yes,
to 8 million.
To 8 million.
Priority is very key here.
Yes, and because of the inherited troubles of Honorable Kenneth Oriata in terms of how low the finances of the nation
So that's 2017. 2018, you said you had...
2018, that is President Akufo-Addo. It ballooned to 220 million. Never happened. I mean...
For just drains?
Yes, for drains. 584,188.69.
So this is the money they gave to you, fix our drains?
Yes, fix our drains. And you realize that it paid off in the flood control. That when we were inundated with rains, it was not as bad as it used to be.
I also realized that we have so many open drains and the city still stinks. It means the national or the Greater Accra Cleaner City agenda pretty much laid on your laps as it laid on the Minister for Sanitation.
But
that has failed.
Because of the hard fact that the monies of this nation, are not enough to go into what really, 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 really should be addressed. For example, I've mooted the idea of subterranean drains. If you remember,
yes.
Now you can never have any sustainable drainage system where people tip their filth into the open drains and then you find money to go and desilt and then mess debris in the open drains and that kind of, problem. Unless you do what they call subterranean. The subterranean ones are what you see in advanced countries, that you will never see anything filthy in the drains. And then they have flashing points where they'll be able to flash out. And you see that is when you won't have diarrheas and dysentery and malarias and the rest of it, because it is health friendly.
There's something President Akufo-Addo did. I'll come back. We'll talk more about this. He decoupled water resources from your ministry. Did you think that was a good decision, considering how critical the two work together? Your drains and your water have to work together. You have put a Ministry for Water and Sanitation separate from the drains. Do you think that was a good idea?
Yeah, because of emphasis. Because he felt that you couldn't have sanitation standing by itself.
Okay.
You see, that would be too small a portfolio.
So you had to add water.
So you had to add water.
Very well. I'll come back. We'll talk more on the drains and housing. This is Face to Face on Citi TV. My guest is a former Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Atta Akyea. We'll ask what legacy he has left. He's talked about Akufo-Addo's legacy. What's his own legacy? I am saddened that the houses at Saglemi still rest there, serving as accommodation for rodents. Stay with us.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We live in a world where news travels fast, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate fact from fiction. Fact Finder brings fact-checking from the newsroom up close so you can separate truth from chaff. Be empowered to tell what's fake from what's real. Watch Fact Finder by the BBC on Citi TV every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Citi TV. It's your world.
You're welcome back to Face on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is a former Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Atta Akyea. He has been dropped. I have said on radio that I'm happy you were not renominated. In fact, there are several other people I'm happy they've not been renominated. And my reason for being happy that you've not been renominated is that you have not built any house since you came to this ministry, unless you're going to share with me now. You are the houses that were left at Saglemi. You haven't done anything about them. What is the Atta Akyea legacy in terms of housing?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't forget that we pioneered and we are constructing housing units for the police at Tesano. So let's bear in mind.
The police depot?
Yes.
Is that not the Mahama STX?
No, it's Akufo-Addo, project.
Yes.
So we started it. Now, when you come to Saglemi, it had a lot of challenges. And if you ask me, some people said, oh, you'll be moving at a tortoise pace. It's not true. You can never, with the greatest of respect, accuse of a man of malfeasance and embezzlement without what I perceived as the documentary evidence. So we took our time. We fetched all the documents from Parliament, executive approvals, and then we needed to find even money for experts to do it. Who is the expert to go and do the audit of what happened at Saglemi? 200 million United States dollars for 5,000 housing units. We struggled because people wanted money up front, and we didn't have the money up front to pay any, quantity surveyor. So we needed to go and plead with the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, and they agreed that they would do it for us up front without we paying the money. And over time, we could pay money from our capital allowance. And this is what we did. So we have surrendered the matter to the police because we are of the humble view that there has been a defalcation in the sum of 114 million United States dollars. If you measure the monies that has been taken by the contractor against the units on the ground, Ghana has been shortchanged big time. And we are also, with the strength of the surveyor's report, we can now request individuals, companies to come and continue with the project. So nobody should say that Akufo-Addo has abandoned or Atta Akyea has abandoned the Settlement housing project. When you have a very bad case, you need to take your time, diagnose it properly, come out with the findings. Then now the road is clear. I'm sure they will give Asenso the nod. When Asenso gets the nod, one of the things I've penciled for him as a priority is to open it out for competitive bidding. So contractors will go and complete the Settlement housing unit. After all, it's for Ghanaians.
How much did you pay the Institution of Engineers to do this survey for us?
We've not paid them at all.
So it was done for free?
It was done under an agreement. So they've invoiced that, but I can't tell you on top of my head how much went into that. But when we have the requisite monies by way of capital allocation, we'll be able to pay them.
So there was negligence? Is that what was found?
No, if you ask me, there was criminality, not negligence.
Who were the suspects in this alleged criminality?
It's the OOS Constructula, that company that went ahead to take all the monies from Bank of Ghana coffers. They gave them 200 million United States dollars, and then what is on the ground they've done is not even half the project.
Did you find co-conspirators in government at the time?
Well, I wouldn't say they are co-conspirators, but people who aided the theft. You see,
knowingly or unknowingly?
Well, I will leave that judgment to the courts, because for one good measure, I wouldn't want to accept for all the world of me that somebody is a minister and the minister downsizes what has been approved by Parliament for the benefit of the contractor at the same price.
That's Collins Dauda you're talking about?
Yes, he did that.
So he is a suspect in this case?
Well, I'm tempted to come to some conclusion that he will be invited.
It's
by
4
the
years now. He still has. You had an attorney general. You had even the chief justice was appointed by Akufo-Addo. And I'm not saying that justices are the whims and caprices of their appointees. I'm just saying that you pretty much had the judiciary on your hand, where you had an attorney general who could have gone to court. Did you take this docket, or did they prepare a docket at least on Collins Dauda?
You know, the process is not as simple as you think. You know, and I think what was very uppermost on my mind is to accuse somebody falsely. Understand? So it is better to spend some time to act right, or in the name of political vendetta, rush somebody to court, only to realize that there's a wealth of evidence that I didn't even take into account. So we took our time. And the CID, you know, the competencies they have, they've started work already.
But the NDC is mocking you. They're saying that you said that Collins Dauda had, stolen money, blah, blah, blah. You still haven't arrested him. You haven't prosecuted him. No, they are mocking you.
Well, the NDC they can have the laughter they want. But when it is all said and done, they will know that the MPP, under my ministerialship, had been very diligent in coming out with one I want to call a gargantuan theft of 114 million US dollars, which has robbed Ghanaians of dwelling homes. And we will come to that.
But while you were doing all of this, you could have also allowed for people to buy these houses and occupy them.
They are uncompleted. That is the poverty of the project.
But people can buy and fix the rest so that you knock off.
How would you want to do on-site infrastructure if we are buying a house? Do you know how much it costs to do sewage systems on site? That means you are buying about...
Yeah, but people will know all of these things before they buy them. I mean, people even buy land, so they can buy a house at foundation level.
No. How do you flush the toilets? Where would it go?
No, so you fix it before you move in.
You can't do it. It is intended for a community, not for an individual. So if you look at Segleme...
So you give it to the assembly, the Ningo Pram Assembly.
They don't even have the wherewithal to do it. I'm talking about 200 million US dollars.
When would we see those houses being accommodated by human beings and not rats?
Well, I can tell you that Asenso drive it, and I'm here to back him to achieve this. Very soon we'll see it happening.
Do we have an idea?
Well, give yourself the next 6 months, you'll see strong action happening.
Would it not be sold to governments, appointees, party members?
No, it will be sold to workers of the government.
Workers of government, that's people, ministers.
Not ministers. Not ministers. The ordinary workers. And also we've created...
a driver at the Ministry of Education can buy that house?
When we've created the credible mortgage scheme as well. Because that is one of the things I left behind. We've not spoken about my standings. We need to look at a credible mortgage scheme which will help you to buy a house over a long stretch of time.
Before we went on the break, you were telling me how much was voted for you to fix the drains of the country. You have said that you're going to turn Nima into Villaggio. The drains of Nima are still horrible. Nima is still the slum that we know it to be. It is not Villaggio. You've been there for 4 years.
Yes.
Have you told an untruth?
I have not. What I've told you is that there is always the financial infusion to actualize programs. We should bear that in mind. Free Senior High School would have come to naught if monies were not earmarked for that purpose. Planting for food and jobs. Even roads. So when you do not want to spend on a project, you don't have the actuals trying to come to the benefit of our people. Do you know we have a program to convert Nima into a world-class residential space? And Akyea and the associates,
the designer,
they've come out with a lot of material that I could make it available for you to see. So we are trying to build on it, but there's a change of government, and now we are continuing. I can assure you that will be very uppermost on the mind of the president.
You're still standing by this Nima being Villaggio thing?
Yeah, because we've urged upon the cabinet, the old cabinet, and they believe that that's a priority. I mean, they should look at.
So we should blame President Akufo-Addo for not advancing funds for the conversion of Nima into...
We should blame an inherited and impoverished economy that did not give Akufo-Addo the space to do the major things he wanted to do.
If you knew there was no space, why did you say it?
No, we never said that.
You did. There was no compulsion on you to say you
No.
If you knew you didn't have the financial capacity.
It was when we've come to power and we're engineering the whole process.
Yes.
So we as a ministry, I decided that look at Nima and the space of Nima. Is it not possible to convert Nima into a world-class residential area? Give space to the indigents to live at one portion. Another portion can be like Manhattan if you want it that way. So why would you want to say that is a bad project?
Because it hasn't been delivered, it can be described as you having been daydreaming.
No, I've not been daydreaming. You know, even that one was at no cost to the, what's it called, the government. Because it was going to be redevelopment.
Yeah, but you excited the people and you never delivered.
Because you need to do what we call stakeholder engagement. Do you know what it is to say to a man that if you lived here the rest of your life, even if it has antedated you, and your parents live there, I want to come and do this project. Do you know you need to engage them? The Sangha minister was part of the process of re-engaging.
Did you even know how many people lived in Nima?
100 million.
100 million?
No, 100,000. Sorry.
100,000.
Yes, I have the figure here. 100,000. Yes. Residents. And they were living on an acreage of 750.
750 acres?
Yes.
For 100,000 people?
Yes. So can you imagine when...
Did you know the lanterna system? Did you understand what the lanterna system in that area was like?
I know the lanterna system as an area that were given to settlers. You understand? And government can then say that the settlers should move into a better space within the 750 acres. And then we take a larger chunk to do world-class residential accommodation for Ghanaians. And that will compensate.
Where were you going to put the people before you develop the place?
Within the 750, we'll build theirs first. And then
there's no space. You can't even do a proper 360.
There is, my brother. Have you seen the Kaukudi area?
Yes.
Oh, there's a huge expanse of land.
So you move the people there and develop where they were?
You finish theirs first.
Okay.
So you let them stay where they are, and then you develop that space which is empty, and then when you finish, you tell them that, look at these world-class areas.
Don't you like it?
You flash your toilets for the first time. Can you move over there? That is where we were going. And I'm sure.
And the leftover land, you sell it yourselves?
And the leftover land will go to the developer who will develop it to compensate for what has been used in giving our people a decent place of abode.
In Nima, I have moved through Nima and some communities during the COVID, and I found a room that is just the normal 12 by 12 room, which has like a family with like 6 or 7 or even 10 kids. Were you going to build the same space and send the family with their 6 kids in that small room, but just because they have a toilet, they should be grateful? Or you're going to give them an apartment properly so-called?
We're going to give them the Akufo-Addo class. We're going to give them decent accommodation where I will tell you that 10 people needn't sleep in one bedroom. Because you see, we're going to give them even some decency of flats where people will live, flush toilets, game parks, and the rest of it. So it was going to be what we call urban rejuvenation.
So for now it has failed. So we leave it at that.
It's not failed, it's work in progress. And I believe that government is in continuum, and Asenso will drive this. I'll be reminding him that the good people of Nima, if you get to know, the president is also a Nima boy, and he should do this as honest to all the people in Nima.
So they should still
as
have
part of the legacy. Yes, why not?
If you did all of this, why did he drop you from his government?
Well,
you are family, you are from his constituency, you are hardworking according to you, you are looking at Akufo-Addo legacy, and yet he dropped you like a hot potato.
Well, I don't feel dropped. I feel that I've yielded space for others to continue, and that is also part of governance, you know, because at the end of the day, if another man can do it and your own family member will not do it, does it change the value? The value is that you are here as a president to give your legacy. My prayer to God is that President Akufo-Addo succeeds, and if he succeeds through any other person, so be it.
Has he told you why he did not reappoint you?
Well, he's doing re-engineering of government. That is what.
But there are old engineers who are still in there.
Well, I leave it to his better judgment. You see,
have you discussed it, this two of you?
No,
because we're told he called some ministers and told them, sorry, you're not going to be in the government. He called others and said, I want you to be in my government. Did he talk to you? Did he call you?
He spoke to me.
And said that, sorry, this is the end of the road for you.
He said, I'll have to play other roles. Because it is not only in the area of being a minister that you can influence good things for the government. You should bear that in mind.
Did you ask him why you? Why me, oh Lord?
No, I didn't want to ask, for the simple reason that he has my best interest at heart, and he will not shortchange me, because there are several roles I can play in Parliament.
Could it be that the two of you and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president, had issues, for which reason he decided to jettison you?
I think if he had issues, he would call me that you are being unruly, or you are not acting in accordance with our traditions. You know, so this Nana Akufo-Addo is not a coward not to call me to discuss where I've gone wrong.
You don't have a fight.
We don't have a fight.
You don't have a fight.
So far, so very good.
Is your family not disappointed that the two of you have been sent to Accra to come and help each other, and he has come to ditch you?
Well, some people will feel disappointed, but we should respect his wisdom. You understand? That is all that there is. Some people will not have a full comprehension as to the factors that informed his decision. But I am of the view that he's a very, very powerful politician. He's a man of wisdom and intellect. And there might be some factors that will pay off eventually.
You are not on the appointments committee. You have not been given a ministerial position. It seems like you've been dropped on all angles.
I don't feel dropped. I feel that I've been released to do other things. Be serious with parliamentary assignments. Why not? Why not? And that is not everybody who can be a minister. That arithmetic, we should get it clear. What is important is that what are you going to do on the House floor? If we are given committee chairmanship or even ranking or whatever the case might be, what kind of input are you going to bring to bear?
Would you still be a friend of the appointments committee?
Well, if they want to consult me on matters, or if they need my help.
Would you elect to go and sit in the committee and ask questions because it's something?
No, you are not permitted to ask questions.
As a friend of the committee, you can't show up.
No, you can't show up and do that, but you can always, get the indulgence of the chairman of the committee, and whatever is your concern, you can filter it through him.
Also, you cannot be there and ask a question as a member of parliament.
No, you can't.
But not have voting rights.
You don't have voting rights.
The Akufo-Addo government has been tagged Sakawa Mafia. They've said that it's a government of few Achim people who have been acting as leeches on the resources of Ghana. You are Nachim, you were in his government. How do you respond to this?
I do not think it's a valid statement to make. In fact, that word Sakawa is very, very offensive. And I don't know why anybody will tag Akufo-Addo with this kind of ugly insult. But let me tell you something that is painful. He's also outclassed most of the presidents we've had. That is also one of the things that can attract envy and insults. I do not know anybody, even in Nkrumah, bringing us Free Senior High School, a very audacious and bold man. And men of that stature will always come under such attacks. But where is the Sakawa dimension here? What has he done and his family done, which tomorrow could be the subject matter of criminal investigations?
The special prosecutor came out with a damning report on Ejapa, for instance, and said that it was mother of all corruption in Ghana.
Well, I've read his entire report. I didn't read that a coin went into the pocket of Akufo-Addo or Kenneth.
But there's a plan for a coin to go in there.
Well, what was the plan? He didn't put his finger on it. That there was a high level of criminality in trying to direct monies into the pocket of Akufo-Addo. I wanted to read that. He was surmising, he was imagining that maybe there might be money in the whole deal. That is the thinking of especially former public prosecutor. But I do not think that this family with a long-standing good name will be criminal in that orientation.
As an MP representing a constituency with gold deposits, hand on heart, you agree with the Ejapa deal?
Well, the Ejapa deal had not fleshed out to the understanding of everybody. But if you said you are cash-strapped as a nation, let's leverage on our gold resources to raise more money for development, I don't think it's a bad deal. But I think the education did not percolate. That's what I want to say. And I believe that if people come to understand that, oh, it's a clever way of getting money for development, it will be somebody who doesn't love Ghana who will say that we hate money for development.
The deal has been arrested now. Do you think it should be reintroduced to the House or should be left to sleep?
Well, it depends on the light it will turn on. If they turn on the light for the whole of Ghanaians to get on board, why not? You have a parliament, the people's representatives, the gatekeepers of the national coffers. Why don't you engage them? Why don't you bring them to having a kindergarten appreciation of the Ejapa deal? And then you shoot it again.
This is Face to Face on Citi TV. My guest is a sitting MP for Abuakwa South. It's a very complex house now in that it is a hung parliament except the support that has been gotten from Fomina. How is he, a leader of this house, going to help the majority side maneuver its way with bills and so on? Consensus building. Stay with us.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a news search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. Citi TV, it's your world.
You're welcome back to Face on Citi TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is a former Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Atta Akyea. I looked through the tribute book of Jerry Rawlings. I saw your name there. I thought you were political enemies. You are from NPP. He is founder of NDC. How did you find your tribute in his book?
Well, I think I've always taken the posture that we are never enemies politically. NDC is part of the governance system of this country, and so also is MPP. There's nobody in NDC who should die for it to increase my bank account. There's nobody in NDC who should be shamed, and his shame will be my glory. When we go with that posture that we are healthy political rivals, you understand, it will help. You can look at the polygamous arrangements that we know from our traditional backgrounds. A man is having about 5 ladies as wives, and they even cook in tents, if you like. They sleep in tents. There's no one who is so interested in trying to poison the common man who is giving joy to everybody. So that is how it goes. So President Rawlings, I didn't see him as an enemy. There are a lot of things to say against him, a lot of things to say for him. And he said he had a problem. His problem is that there's a book that Professor Danso Boafo wanted to put out. And this book was at his own behest, that can you put together a biography? And he said, yes, you do it for him. But when the book had come out and it was about to be launched, it became apparent to President Rawlings that some aspects of the book are defamatory of him, and some are just blatant lies, according to him. And therefore, I should take quality steps to, if you like, arrest the publication of the book. And guess who knocked at my door? The wife. I knocked at Umaru Rawlings. And look, we've checked.
Was that your first encounter with her?
That was my first encounter with her. Like when I've met her, we've spoken.
One-on-one?
Or one-on-one. I never met her before.
Did you not think this was a trap? Why is JJ coming to me for
legal advice when
he has all these lawyers on his...
I didn't understand it. I was shocked. That why would Rawlings believe that Atta Akyea is the one who should be doing this kind of job? So the lady said, Atta, you should look at it and give him the help. More so when Professor Danso Boafo is from our backyard. It was a very controversial invitation, you know. So who did I call? I called President Akufo-Addo, opposition leader. Mr. President, I didn't say Mr. President, I'm sorry. Yes. I said, Nanado, that's what we used to call him. Do you know President Rawlings wants me to intervene for him to arrest the publication of a book written by Professor Danso Boafo. He said, oh, really? Look, he served this nation for 19 years. Go and serve him and don't charge him a coin.
That's what Nanado said to you?
That's what Nanado said to me.
Was this before he and Rawlings became friends or...
Oh, after? long after. Because we're talking about issues of 2015.
Okay.
You see? And what is very, very serious about it was that I was shocked that President Akufo-Addo said, I should go. I thought he was going to say, oh, this man, don't mind him. You know, he is a founder of NDC. I want to restore power from NDC. So why should I go and have any association? That's how come I started working for him. And then I saw his humanity, how simple he is. I was even shocked that he would drive to my office. And there was this famous granules that we always have on my desk. He'll come and take the granules and eat it. I don't do that. I'll hardly go anywhere and I'll be eating. I don't eat in strange places.
And he did it effortlessly?
Effortlessly. He said one day, my daughter and my son were there. And then he came and met them. He started playing with the children. I said, oh, this man is not a monster.
So you realize that everything you've thought about him in the past
he has a beautiful persona and his humanity. I'll tell you one. So after I finished the case, and we settled the case peacefully, and then he said, now my legal fees. I said, Mr. President, how can I charge you legal fees when you served Ghana for 90 years? I said, do you mean it? That you won't take any money from me? So guess what happened? Atta Akyea wants to be MP.
For Abuakwa South.
For Abuakwa South.
2015.
At about 5 a.m., they said President Rawlings' emissary wants to see you. 5 a.m. I wonder that,
Is it in the village or in Accra?
In the village. Chebi. So he came and said, look, President Rawlings is saying that he wants to talk to you. And he's fond of calling everybody chief. So I spoke on the phone. I said, Chief, I don't have too much money. But what I have is spiritual. It's going to help you. Take this small money and go and win for me. My prayers are with you. My brother, I was disarmed.
Wow.
I couldn't believe he wanted me to continue as an MP.
Fighting his party.
So eventually...
How much did he give you?
If I should be very candid, he gave me... It wasn't a small money. Even now it's not small.
Was it in a Ghana Must Go bag or it was a check? What was it cash?
It was cash.
How much was it?
It was serious cash.
Give me an idea. You've spent it already. It's been 6 years now.
It was not less than 20,000 Ghana cedis.
At the time?
At the time.
That was huge.
That was good money. And then he told me also that there's a man, when I'd become a minister, I mean, we became very good friends. And I mean, he said, oh, Minister, there's a man whose knee has to be operated upon. And would you want to give a little help in terms of the cost of the operation? So he was thinking about other men. He never said, can you give me money for my upkeep? He said, there's a man who needs to undergo an operation. Would you want
Was
to?
it him?
It wasn't him. It was somebody else. So I said, sure. Well, let me tell you my pain. I gave the money to him for somebody else's need to be corrected. My pain was that when the mom died, you know, the night before the funeral, I sent a cow. And then in the morning when the funeral was on, serious, and they've lifted the body of the mother, you could see he was very quiet. I walked to him and said, Mr. President, I can't give you a funeral donation openly. So I'm coming home to give you your funeral donation. I heard he was dead.
Before you went?
Before I could give the money, the funeral donation, he died.
Question. He gave you over 20,000 cedis to run as MP for Abuakwa South.
Yes.
Was there an NDC candidate?
No, there was no NDC candidate for the primaries.
Okay, this was the primary. It wasn't the general election.
Not the general elections. Because as for the general elections, he won't give me a coin because whatever it is, the NDC candidate will be last. And there's no contest.
It's inconsequential.
It's inconsequential. Abuakwa South constituency. J.B. Dankwa's background. Akufo-Addo's stronghold.
It shall forever be blue.
And we are going to be there forever.
Are you going to go back in 2024?
I don't intend going back. I think I will serve the society in some other dimensions.
You're calling it quits?
I can't do 5 terms. It's too oppressive for me. I think
it is
I need
good.
to
You
pipe
have
down.
Experience. You become Bagbin. You possibly will become speaker.
Well, I have considered, and even now, if I should stop, they can ferry me back as a speaker. They can take me to the Supreme Court. They can do any good thing to me. So I do not believe it's the position that matters, but your capabilities and your servant mentality and heart. That is what matters. If you have it, you can fit into any role.
Have you groomed someone to replace you?
Not yet. I've not gotten anybody to come now. But
you have names in mind?
Well, a few people have come to knock at my door. I didn't call them. So we'll process them. And if they are attractive to the constituency,
This decision not to run again, are you sure it's concrete that we will not see your posters in 2023, 2025?
I don't think, I don't know what is going to change my mind. I am of the view that to do 16 years as a member of parliament, if you understand that.
I do.
It's becoming nauseating for them now.
What do you think this parliament is going to look like? Can this parliament work?
It's going to work provided always, and mark my words, we do not ride roughshod the views and the rights of the NDC. I've told you something which is very important for our forward movement. We should behave like partners, not as enemies. What are we partnering about? We partner concerning the future of this country, Ghana. Ghana is a common husband servicing many women. So the health of the husband is important to the wives.
Is this servicing literal in the sense I'm understanding?
In the metaphorical sense.
I should leave it there.
Yes, in the metaphorical sense.
I don't want to commit any blunder. Let's end it here, Honorable.
So if the man who is in charge of the welfare of the children and the women should be shortchanged, by necessary implications, the women will suffer and the children will suffer. So when we have that kind of mindset and posture, we'll be able to have friendship, and there will be convergence of minds and understanding on matters which matter to Ghana. Yeah. For instance, I believe that we should begin to have a good conversation on free senior high school and the financing. Both, members of the on the aisle, the people who are NDC and the people who are NDC. I believe what matters to Ghana we should all embrace, because what President Akufo-Addo has done, the free senior high school, it is not wearing party colors. It's not saying that NDC people should go to school for free. You see, and NDC people...
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. So why should we fight when it matters to all?
Very well.
It doesn't make sense for us to fight.
May our parliament live long.
And prosper.
Thank you.
And improve on our thinking.
Thank you for speaking to us.
It's my pleasure and joy.
That's the Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea former Minister for Works and Housing. It's too soon to be calling him former, but he's former. He's MP, though, for Abuakwa South. He's a runaway Ochihini. Thank you for watching us. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. This is Citi TV. Stay with us. It's your world.